Welcome to my channel of Gill Master Stories. Don't forget to subscribe button and press on the bell icon for more inspiration and mind-blowing stories. A young boy's simple act of love for his hardworking mom takes an unbelievable turn when Elon Musk walks into a small-town jewelry store. What happens next will leave you speechless. And inspired Ethan gripped a handful of crumpled bills and coins in his pocket, his heart racing with both excitement and nerves. For weeks he'd been saving every spare dollar he could scrounge up, mowing lawns, skipping after-school snacks, and even cashing in on a few favors from neighbors. Today was the day. He was finally going to buy his mom a birthday gift, one that would show her just how much he appreciated everything she did for him. The sun hung low over the small town of Springfield, Missouri, as Ethan pushed open the door of a modest jewelry store, tucked between a bakery and a thrift shop. The faint chime of the bell above the door drew a quick glance from the shopkeeper, an older man with kind eyes who gave Ethan a brief nod. Ethan stepped inside, his eyes darting to the sparkling displays. He wandered through the aisles, studying each piece carefully. His mom didn't wear much jewelry, but there was something about a bracelet he spotted on the second shelf that stopped him in his tracks. It wasn't flashy or extravagant, but it had a simple elegance. Thin silver with a single charm in the shape of a heart. He imagined her wearing it, smiling as she sipped her coffee on the porch. After a long day, this was the one. Pulling the bracelet from the display, Ethan held it in his hands for a moment. Marveling at its beauty, he turned it over, carefully checking the price tag. It was closer than he had hoped, but he'd scraped up just enough. His mom deserved it. He took a deep breath and walked toward the counter. As he placed the bracelet down, the shopkeeper smiled warmly. Ringing it up without a word, Ethan began counting out his money. When the front door opened again, the bell jingling louder this time, the shopkeeper's gaze shifted toward the entrance, his eyebrows lifting in recognition. Something had changed the room's energy. Ethan glanced over his shoulder, curious as the sound of heavy but purposeful footsteps grew closer. Ethan turned around slowly, clutching the bracelet like it was the most valuable thing in the world. A tall man in a casual hoodie and jeans strolled into the store, his presence both understated and magnetic. It took Ethan a moment to process who he was looking at: Elon Musk, the man he had only seen in headlines and videos. The shopkeeper froze for a split second, then quickly regained his composure, offering the same polite smile, but for Ethan it was surreal. He had no idea why someone like Musk would walk into this little jewelry store in Springfield, of all places. Was it really him? Ethan blinked, half convinced he was imagining things. Afternoon, Musk said casually, giving the shopkeeper a brief nod before glancing around the store. He moved with a kind of ease, as if he were just another customer browsing for something special, but the air felt charged, as though everyone was waiting to see what would happen. Next, Ethan turned back toward the counter, trying to focus on counting his money. His hands trembled slightly as he laid the bills out. One by one, the shopkeeper seemed distracted, stealing glances at Musk while carefully tallying Ethan's cash. "Nice bracelet," Musk's voice broke the quiet, and Ethan's heart jumped. He glanced up to see Musk standing a few feet away, his eyes fixed on the small piece of jewelry in Ethan's hands. Ethan swallowed hard, unsure how to respond. "A thanks," he muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. "Who's it for?" Musk asked, his tone friendly but genuinely curious. Ethan hesitated, glancing at the shopkeeper, who gave him an encouraging smile. "It's for my mom," he finally said, his voice steadying. "Her birthday is tomorrow. She works really hard, and I wanted to get her something nice." Musk's expression softened. He nodded almost imperceptibly and stepped closer to the counter. "That's thoughtful of you. What made you choose this one?" he asked, gesturing toward the bracelet. Ethan felt his cheeks flush. "It's simple but elegant. She doesn't wear a lot of jewelry, but I think she like it. I want her to know I notice how much she does for me." For a moment, Musk didn't say anything. He just studied Ethan, as if trying to piece together the story. behind his words. Then a small smile tugged at the corners of his lips. Ethan couldn't have guessed what Musk was about to do next. But the man's interest in his story was only the beginning. Musk leaned casually against the counter, folding his arms. "How old are you?" he asked, his tone light, but his gaze sharp, as though he was genuinely intrigued by Ethan. ".13, Ethan replied, still clutching the bracelet as if it might slip away. Musk chuckled softly. 13 and already saving up for a gift like this. That's impressive. Most kids your age would be buying video games or sneakers." Ethan shrugged, suddenly feeling self-conscious. "My mom's been through a lot. She works long hours at the diner and always makes sure I have everything I need, even when I know it's not easy for her. I just wanted to give her something special for once." Musk tilted his head slightly, his expression shifting to something softer, almost thoughtful. "Sounds like you've got a good head on your shoulders, Ethan," he said. "It's not every day you meet a kid who thinks like that." Ethan's eyes widened in surprise. "How do you know my name?" Musk pointed to the small name tag pinned to Ethan's jacket from a school event. "It's right there, kid," he said with a grin breaking the tension. Ethan laughed nervously, relaxing a little. Musk glanced at the bracelet again. "How much is it?" he asked the shopkeeper. $56, the older man replied. He looked at Ethan's stack of cash and coins, then added kindly, "He's got it all here." Musk raised an eyebrow, a flicker of amusement crossing his face. $56, huh? He paused, then turned to Ethan. "Tell you what, I'll take care of this for you. Consider it a birthday gift for your mom, from both of us." Ethan's jaw dropped. "Wait, what? You don't have to do that," he stammered, his voice breaking with surprise. Musk smiled, waving off the protest. "I know I don't have to, but I want to. Let's just say I like what you're doing here. It's a reminder of what really matters." Before Ethan could process what was happening, Musk reached into his pocket and pulled out a sleek, black wallet. He handed the shopkeeper a crisp $100 bill. "Keep the change," he said, giving the older man a nod. Ethan stood frozen, the bracelet still in his hand. I don't know what to say," he whispered, his eyes darting between Musk and the shopkeeper. Musk crouched slightly to meet Ethan's gaze. "You don't have to say anything. Just make sure your mom has a great birthday, okay?" Ethan nodded slowly, still overwhelmed, but as he glanced at Musk, he saw something in the man's expression. A quiet encouragement, as if this wasn't just about the bracelet. It was about something bigger. What Ethan didn't know was that this simple act of kindness was only the beginning. Musk had one more question that would turn this moment into something extraordinary. Ethan, still clutching the bracelet, felt a rush of gratitude bubbling up inside him. He managed a quiet "thank you," but Musk's next words stopped him in his tracks. "Ethan," Musk began, his tone shifting to something more serious, "do you have any big dreams, anything you've always wanted to do?" The question caught Ethan off guard. He blinked, unsure how to answer. He wasn't used to being asked things like that. People didn't usually pay much attention to a kid like him. I don't know," he said hesitantly, his fingers fidgeting with the edge of the bracelet box. "I mean, I guess I'd like to do something that makes my mom proud. Maybe build something like you do." Musk's eyebrows lifted slightly, his curiosity deepening. "Build something like what?" Ethan thought for a moment, the words coming slowly. "She always says she wishes we had a better house, something where we don't have to fix things all the time. Maybe one day I could make houses that don't fall apart so easily. Ones that people like us could actually afford." Musk leaned back, clearly impressed. "Affordable, durable housing. That's a big idea, you know. There's a lot of people out there trying to solve problems like that. But not everyone has the kind of perspective you do." Ethan shrugged again, embarrassed. "It's just something I've thought about. I don't know if I could actually do it." Musk's expression softened, and for a moment, the world outside the little store seemed to fade. "Ethan, let me tell you something. Every big idea starts with someone just like you. Someone who sees a problem and thinks, maybe I can fix that. It doesn't matter how small you start. What matters is that you care enough to try." Ethan stared at him, the words sinking in like a seed being planted. He'd never thought about it that way before. Could he really do something like that? Musk straightened up, his trademark confidence returning. Tell you what, I'm going to help you get started. Consider it an investment in your future. Ethan's eyes widened. What do you mean? Musk pulled out his phone, tapping the screen for a few moments before looking back at Ethan. Give me your mom's name and phone number. I want to make sure you have what you need to dream a little bigger. The shopkeeper watched the scene unfold with quiet astonishment, his kind eyes darting between the boy and the billionaire. Ethan hesitated, then slowly gave Musk his mom's information, his voice barely above a whisper. All right, Musk said, sliding his phone back into his pocket. I'll be in touch for now. Go make her birthday unforgettable. Ethan had no idea what Musk was planning, but the spark of hope in his chest was undeniable. The world outside the store suddenly seemed full of possibilities. The next day, Ethan could barely contain his excitement as he handed his mom the small, carefully wrapped box. He had practiced what to say in his head a dozen times, but when the moment came, all he could manage was a simple, heartfelt happy birthday, Mom. His mom, Maria, looked at the box in surprise. She wasn't used to getting gifts, especially something as thoughtful as this. As she opened the box and saw the silver bracelet, her eyes filled with tears. Ethan, this is beautiful, she whispered, pulling him into a tight hug. You didn't have to do this. I wanted to, Ethan replied, his voice steady despite the lump in his throat. You deserve it, Mom. Maria smiled, her fingers tracing the charm on the bracelet. She had no idea the gift was just the beginning. Later that evening, as they sat down for dinner in their small, cozy kitchen, Maria's phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at the unfamiliar number and hesitated before answering. Hello. Hi, is this Maria? A voice on the other end asked. It was confident yet kind, and for a moment Maria couldn't place it. This is Elon Musk. Maria nearly dropped the phone. Excuse me, she said, glancing at Ethan, who looked just as puzzled. Musk chuckled lightly. I know this might sound unexpected, but I met your son yesterday at the jewelry store. He told me about how hard you work and how much he admires you. I just wanted to say you've raised an incredible kid. Maria's hand flew to her chest, overwhelmed. Thank you, that's very kind of you. Well, Musk continued, he also mentioned a dream of his. Something about building better homes for families like yours. It's a pretty great idea, and I want to help him make it happen. Maria's mouth fell open, unable to form words. Ethan sat frozen, his fork halfway to his mouth. Musk continued, undeterred by the stunned silence. I've arranged for your rent to be covered for the next year, he said. And starting next week, Ethan will have a mentor to help him explore his interest in design and engineering. If there's anything else you two need to make life a little easier, just let me know. Tears streamed down Maria's face as she struggled to process what she was hearing. I don't know what to say, she stammered. This is unbelievable. Ethan jumped up from his seat, grabbing the phone from his mom. Mr. Musk, he said, his voice shaking. Thank you. I don't know how to thank you enough. You already have, Ethan Musk replied. Just keep dreaming big and never forget where you came from. That's all the thanks I need. The call ended, but the impact of those words lingered, reshaping not just their lives, but their sense of what was possible. The following weeks were a whirlwind. True to his word, Musk's team connected Ethan with a mentor, an engineer named Darren, who shared Musk's vision for innovative, affordable housing. Darren didn't just teach Ethan the basics of design and construction, he treated the boy's ideas with the kind of respect that made Ethan feel capable of anything. Maria's life changed too. For the first time in years, she didn't have to worry about rent or juggling multiple jobs to make ends meet. The extra breathing room allowed her to spend more time with Ethan, sharing stories, dreaming about the future, and marveling at how one unexpected encounter had turned their lives around. But the story didn't stop there. News of Musk's gesture spread quickly, picked up by local papers and eventually national media. When reporters showed up at their door, Maria and Ethan shared their story. Not to seek attention, but to inspire others. It's not just about what someone gave us. Maria told one reporter, it's about how one act of kindness can remind you to believe in yourself and in the goodness of people. Ethan, now more determined than ever, started sketching blueprints for the houses he dreamed of building. His mentor encouraged him to think big, and Musk's team even helped him present his ideas at a community event. People were amazed by his passion and creativity, and soon others wanted to help bring his vision to life. The once quiet boy from Springfield became a voice for change, proving that even a small act of kindness can spark something extraordinary. People from all walks of life reached out, offering support, resources, and encouragement. For Ethan and Maria, the journey was only beginning, but they carried with them the lesson that Musk had imparted that day. In the store, every big idea starts with someone brave enough to dream. As Ethan stood on the porch one evening, watching the sunset with his mom, he turned to her and said, "Maybe someday I'll build houses for everyone who needs one." Maria smiled, resting a hand on his shoulder. "You already have the heart for it, Ethan. The rest will follow." If this story moved you, let it be a reminder of the power of generosity and dreams. Share this story with someone who might need a little inspiration today. And don't forget to subscribe for more tales that remind us of the goodness in the world. Let's keep spreading hope, one story at a time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. For more content, please leave your comments and share your experiences. Thank you for being part of Gill Master Stories community. See you soon.